Hi everyone, Dr. Orna here. 3 years almost into the pandemic, I am still getting a lot of questions about the best masks to wear in this pandemic. So I thought I would do a review of where we've been, where we are, what my favorite masks are, and why. So if you're ready, let's jump in. So first, let me introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I am Dr. Orna Isaacson. I am a licensed naturopathic doctor in Alaska and Oregon, also a registered herbalist. And in my previous career, I worked as a newspaper journalist covering science and environment. So I'm telling you that so that you'll have a little perspective on my perspective, which is that for the last 30 years, my work has been looking into science, trying to make sense of it. There's a plane, and I don't know if you can hear me over the plane or not. So looking at the science, trying to make sense of it, and working to give you actionable information so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, your friends, your family, and your community. So that's my perspective. That's why I do these videos. That's why I write a lot of the things that I write and post the things that I post on social media. I still am motivated by that journalistic impulse to find information and communicate information so that people have the best information to make informed choices. I am here at the beach because one of the things that is important for health, both in terms of the mental and the physical, is to get outside. And as you can see, it's a beautiful day. So I wanted to take advantage of that. And it also seemed like it would be easier than cleaning up my house to do this video for you. So where we started, a bunch of years ago now, I don't remember exactly what year, I live in Portland, Oregon most of the year, and the Columbia River Gorge, which is very close by, there was an accident or there was an issue and it was on fire, and we had ash raining down from the sky. So the air was absolutely unhealthy, and so a lot of people started looking at ways to protect our lungs. So that is when I got my very first N95 mask, which is this one. And as you can see, it has this valve here. So that makes it effective for filtering what's coming in, but not filtering what's going out. So these are great and commonly used in work environments where there's a lot of dust, great in fires and things like that. But these are only good for protecting yourself, because if you have anything in your system that you're breathing out that could affect another person in terms of viruses and so on, this protects you, but not them. So early on, in the pandemic, these were quite hard to come by, also hard to come by during the peak of fire season. And they were not recommended because of the exhalation valve. So then, in the pandemic, we moved on to the cloth mask phase. And this is one of the first cloth masks I got. This was given to me by my friend Sue, who made it by hand, and it's got these nice folds and things, so it does a better job of fitting around your face. So over and under, and then the ear loops. So these are the familiar masks that a lot of us used during the pandemic. Then a friend of mine had also made some with ties. So these were also, and he had a bunch of them, so he gave them to me to help distribute. So I still have a bunch of these, and I have used them for people who need to come into my house but don't have masks anymore because they incorrectly believe that masks are no longer necessary. So these basically tie around your head. You can make them into ear loops, you can do whatever with them. So these are also something that you can put over a mask that does have an exhalation valve, and I'll show you that in a minute. Let me show you this now. So this is a P100 mask that I got, a respirator, and it has the cloth mask over the exhalation valve. And I got this early on in the pandemic. I got this because of fires, and then when I was using it to protect myself and others from COVID, I put the mask over the exhalation valve. So this is the kind of Darth Vader mask. And it actually does fit, but I wasn't putting it on really tightly. So it's almost like a scuba mask kind of thing. And this one is really industrial grade. So you can use this in a lot of industrial settings as well. And these are the filters that you can replace, and you can get ones that filter different levels of gases and particulates. So this one reduces particulates by 100% on average. So, and then, you know, to cover up the exhalation valve. So back to cloth masks in the cloth mask era, we started getting into buying them and finding the super pretty ones, and that became like a whole thing. So this is one of my favorites from that time period, because RBG. Also, some of these were made with pockets in which you could put an N95 filter. So a high particulate filtering filter. So that would go in here. Now I have to tell you, as much as I love this mask and I love the idea of the filter pockets, when people talk about masks being hard to breathe through, most of them aren't, some of them really are. So if you've had trouble breathing through masks, try different ones, because they're really not all this hard. So this one, I would really be short of breath if I walked down the street in it. And I tried that because I liked it and I wanted to wear it. And it's a shame because I loved it, but it didn't work for me. And that's this particular one, with or without the filter. So if you've been using cloth masks that were really hard to breathe through, you're not alone. Some of them are legit hard to breathe through. What changed me over from the basic masks, the cloth masks like I've shown you, to the full N95s was, again, wildfires. So in 2021, I was visiting friends doing an outdoor thing, and we had a minute of break between terrible, horrendous, awful wildfire smoke. And during the day with the outdoor stuff, I was wearing a cloth mask when there were a lot of people around. But the next day, when the smoke had started coming back, it was like, nope, time to move on to the N95. So what I had was the now familiar N95 over the ear mask. And these are nice because they have the little metal bit in here, so you can really make it fit your nose well. And they do a fair job of coming up under the chin. And I'll tell you, the day I switched to this, these are so much easier to breathe through than some of the old cloth masks. So if you are still using the old cloth masks, see about getting some of these, because they are actually so much easier to breathe through. So this is kind of where we are now, is in N95 land. And there are a couple of different kinds. So there's the standard over the ear kind. You can find them in white and black and different colors. And then there are a couple of different overhead versions. So this one probably needs to be retired. This was one of the free ones that for a while you could get through pharmacies. So this is a standard N95 mask that I'm looking for that original N95 mask. Here it is. I don't have a table in front of me, so everything's down on the sand. So it kind of looks the same as these, except without the exhalation valve. So this protects you, this protects other people. It goes on like this, and then you can tighten this. So it's nicely fitted under the chin, and it's secured in 2 locations. And you can use this to make sure you get the best possible seal. For those of us with long hair, it's gonna mess up our hair. It is what it is. Another version that a lot of people like a lot because they find they fit very well is the Aura 3M N95. So this again is an over the head mask, and it has a nice cup for the chin, and it has some padding around the nose and the wire so that you can fit it really well. A lot of my friends who are in medicine really like these and find that these give them the best fit. They don't fit well for me. I bought a box, I tried it, I have them, I've given them away, I use them occasionally. I don't love them. So one of the ways you know a mask doesn't fit well is if you wear glasses and your glasses fog up. And also if when you inhale and exhale, the mask material does not move with your breath. It should be moving with your breath unless it's leaking. A sort of upgrade during the time of optional masking, which we are still in and probably will be in forever, is this one. This is a P100, so it filters 100% of particulates as opposed to the 95% that the N95s filter. And it is pretty well, it isn't over the head, it does have adjustable tabs, and it has a nice thing here, not thinking of the word, to help improve the seal. It does have the exhalation valve, meaning it will protect you, but it will not protect other people around you. So that is a thing to bear in mind. This is one that a friend of mine swears by. He has traveled on airplanes, been around sick people, not gotten sick himself. Of course, he is also vaccinated, but on airplanes, you know, if you're getting a big dose of somebody else's virus, that can overwhelm a lot of protections, including layers of protection like vaccinations and masking. So he has had really good success with this. It doesn't fit my face. But this is a good one if you're worried about yourself. This would be another good one during smoke events. My favorite mask, and the one that I use when I'm going into places with a lot of people, most of whom are going to be unmasked, where I am concerned about the pandemic, is the Envo mask. And there are a couple of things that I like about it. First of all, it's made almost like a scuba mask. This is kind of squishy, gel-filled material. So that lets you get a really good seal on your face, where you won't be able to hear me through that. So where you really will minimize the leaks. Also, I'm not gonna do it because it's a little finicky, but this part on top here pops out and you can replace the filters. So the housing is one piece, and then the filters, you can get like big boxes of the filters and just have them for a long time. So if I am traveling on airplanes, which I've done very infrequently in the pandemic, but sometimes it's necessary, I have aging parents who live far away, so I have to see them. So this is what I'll wear. I will keep this filter on for the duration of the flight, and then when I get to where I'm staying, I will switch it up. So the filter would probably last longer than that, but out of an abundance of caution, that's how I do it. It comes in two styles for the headgear. So there's this, which is an over the head. Let me just show you. So this part is adjustable, and then this part goes like this, which keeps it very secure on your head, even though it is not kind to long hair, or probably short hair either. And then this part is adjustable. So it has the over the head attachment, and I didn't bring it, but it has another attachment with big hooks that will hook behind your ears. I haven't played with that one as much. I believe it also has an adjustment like this so you can get it relatively tight. The most important things about the mask is, first of all, that it has a really good seal. If you're breathing out the sides of it, you're breathing in through the sides of it. So if you have viral particles that are aerosolized all around you, you want to make sure you're breathing through something that's going to catch them, right? So having the good seal matters, so that you're breathing through the something, and then having the something be the best it can be. As masks are being touted again and recommended again by public health authorities, hopefully we're going to start seeing more people wearing more masks again, which is great because it reduces the viral load of the aerosols around us. But especially when viral loads are high, when you're around people who are not masking, getting a mask with the best possible material helps you protect yourself better when the burden of protecting each other is not completely shared. So that's why I have, over the years, moved up from the less effective cloth masks to the better over-the-ear N95s to the super sealing kinds of masks like the Envo mask. There is another one in the same category as the Envo mask called the Flow mask. I haven't tried it. I can't speak to it. Some people like it. And one of the things that's nice about that one, well, two things. Most importantly, it comes in 2 sizes. So if you've got kids for whom standard masks just are way too big, they do have a kid size. And then for adults whose faces are too small for the adult masks, who just don't fit in them, it might be worth trying as well. Obviously the price increases with the better masks, but there are a couple of tricks. First of all, if you can get the masks in bulk, that will usually save you money. One of the awesome things about the co-op in my neighborhood, the Alberta Street Co-op in Portland, Oregon, is that they sell the over-the-ear black N95s in bunches that are pretty inexpensive. I think it's basically a cost. But here's another hack. Hang on. So this is your standard surgical mask. You'll notice I haven't talked about this so far. And that's because these aren't great for our purposes because they tend to gap on the sides. So you see these big gaps? This is not a protective mask. And I had it on upside down. It does have the little metal nose thing so you can get a better seal at the top, but you still have those gaps on the side. So a couple of hacks for this. One is you can take the ear loops. How do they do that? I think they go like this. I haven't done this. I never use these. I got one of these from my chiropractor's office. So you can take the ear loops and cross them, and that will help it will help you get a slightly better seal on the sides. Hope you could hear that. Also, if the ear loops are too long, you can knot them. And I would just say, do this in daylight where you can see, and don't knot it super tight until you've checked that it actually fits with the knot in that place. I did that with one of my N95s in a movie theater in the dark, and I knotted it way too tight, and I was really happy that I had stuck another mask in one of my pockets because I could not use that mask. So knotting, twisting are things that you can do to make these fit better. But another thing is you can get one of these gizmos online. They're about 10 or 11 bucks, and it's basically the same kind of headgear as with all of the over the head masks, but this will seal whatever kind of mask you have more closely to your face. So the material still matters, but the seal will be better. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you. I'm not sure if you can hear me when I have all the masks on, so I didn't talk just there. But as you can see, and you can tighten up the over the head bits. So it has a good nose thing, and then it seals all the way around, giving you a nice tight seal with whatever kind of mask you have. So if you have a mask that's an N95 that gaps or a surgical mask that gaps, this $10 reusable forever doohickey, well, reusable until it breaks, which it eventually will, this will vastly improve the efficacy of your masks, whatever the material is. So I really wanted this to be a short video, but I had so many masks to share with you. So I want to address one last thing. There are people who say, but Dr. Orna, I can smell my farts. Masks obviously don't work because viruses are super teeny tiny. And that's a great question. And the answer is masks do work for teeny tiny viruses, and they don't work for gases unless you have the specific ones for certain kinds of gases, like that big Darth Vader mask that I showed you. So a little bit of numbers here. Gases like the ones that we poof out of our behinds are super small. They're not particles, they're gases. You can say like they're atoms, so they're particles, but they're super small. A virus, like a COVID-19 virus, is about 200 million times larger. I think the number when I did the math was 179 million times larger. So it's a significant difference. That's the virus particle itself. But there's more. The virus usually is not just sitting by itself. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, we talked about respiratory droplets, which are big. And so that was the 6 feet thing, because in a bigger drop, it goes out of your mouth and then falls to the ground. And usually that happens in about 6 feet. We now know that the virus is in aerosols, which are smaller and sort of float around in the air more like a balloon that's easy to keep up in the air if you just keep moving the air around, right? And those particles, the virus within its little aerosol particle blob, those are billions of times larger than the gases that come out of us that we can smell through a mask. So yes, the masks do work because the particle sizes of everything we're talking about with viruses is dramatically bigger. Also, and I will link this below, there are some really cool ways that physics makes N95 masks work. So even if it's not like a perfect sieve, there is magic in electrical charges and in kind of spider web stuff. So it's physics you get to wear on your face. And if you're a geek like me, that's really cool. And I will link that video below. So thank you for joining me for what turned out to be a much longer video than I had expected on where we are with masks and which ones I recommend. Basically, the best ones that you can manage and go up in terms of fit and efficacy if you are going to be in places where you are more likely to be exposed to the virus. If you enjoyed this video, usual things here, please click like, please follow, share with your friends, comment if you've got masks that you love or don't love, let me know in the comments. And if you want more information like this, I don't always make videos. I've been a little lax about it. I do have a fairly irregular email newsletter that will not overwhelm your inbox. I'll put a link to that below for you to sign up. And if you want to support me monetarily, I just signed up with Buy Me a Coffee. So that's like a little virtual tip jar, and I call it Buy Me a Chai. So I'll have the link below. And if you wanted to support me in that way to keep making videos like these, I would really appreciate it. So I hope that you are staying safe and staying well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.